So, okay. So, Shaz, you can begin with the, your first question on what we were discussing.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Um, Tonight we're going to be talking about healing, being healed, and the journey that takes us all on. So I'm going to introduce Hakeem Saab, Shahid Bukhari Sahab, and Dr. Adil Anwar. And we're going to kick off with the first question, which is about a new and exciting course which Hakeem Saab is going to be delivering in Pakistan, partly online, and then moving into the practical element. And the first thing I want to ask Hakeem Sahab is, who is this course for and how did it come about?
Okay, just Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Shazia, Sister Shazia, for those questions. Thank you for taking the time out to ask these questions, and Dr. Adil. And so basically, what it is Dr. Adil, when I went to Pakistan, talked to me and asked me that if I could run a course, similar course to what I'm doing in the United Kingdom. So I'm running a course, a diploma level Unani medicine course and naturopathy course in the United Kingdom, which includes a number of different things. And the course is open for everybody. I think Shazia, you frozen. Is Shazia still there? Is she frozen? Are you still there? Are you still there? Can you hear me?
I think it's the background.
Okay. So what
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfect. Alhamdulillah. So what I'm saying is the course is open for everybody, anybody. So the types of people I get at the moment, anything from medical doctors, midwives, nurses, pharmacists, engineers, and lay people. So healing is open to anybody. So when you say healing,
why did they? Can I ask you, Hakeem Saab, what draws, from your experience, what draws people to want to do this on a personal level, if we start there?
Well, there's all healers in effect have had something, some vacuum in their life, some event that's triggered them to become a healer. Okay. I'm not talking about those people that when they were growing up and then the parents said you have to be a doctor or an engineer. I'm not talking about those people where the parents have said to them, that's it. You have to be a doctor, engineer. And that's the biggest export. I think the biggest export of Pakistan and Egypt, I think, is doctors, medical doctors. That's one of the biggest exports, if I'm understanding. And they were saying that the medical doctors in America, they just the medical doctors of Pakistani medical doctors in America could pay Pakistan's complete debt within 1 year. So that's how powerful they are in just the United States. Forget about America. Forget about United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, all that stuff. So it's actually a big export. But I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about other people who had some event in their life. Something's triggered them. Something's pushed them. If you remember Dr. Adil's story, which kind of pushed him into this healing process. Yeah. And if you look for Dr. Musuma's story, last session we had, similarly, she was saying that she wanted to do this, but she said, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. So that's how she, for example, she wasn't drawn towards homeopathy, for example. Yeah. And she was drawn towards something else. So you have to have a calling. And I find that people have something missing in their life. So obviously, I train as an engineer. But remember, I said to you last time, I got my computer science degree in the 80s, but my heart wasn't in there. So I had to retrain myself. And Dr. D trained into this, yet he was trained as something else. Yeah. So your heart and your soul draws towards healing, and that's where the calling is. Yeah, that's yeah.
And does the healing start first with yourself? Like they say, a good therapist is someone who's been to a therapist? Does it start on working on yourself first? You know, or
Yes.
can people immediately start healing somebody else? How
No,
does it work? Like in your journey, did you find that
yeah.
you first had to kind of go within?
Yeah, so how can you heal anybody else if if you're really sick or yourself, really? So the first thing that we do is in the course, for example, as I was saying before the recording, was that we try to reprogram your brain and your soul into thinking in a different way. So we are taught to think in a certain fashion. The education system teaches us to think right. Okay, quirky people like yourself, for example, who don't fit in that pattern. Yeah. They just always they're considered to be rebellious people. Yeah. They could have had a good career, they could have been in Netflix, they could have done all that stuff, they could have made money in California, but no, they decided to go to Pakistan. Dr. Deed, another quirky person, he could have been in Manchester, but he said, no, I want to go and do the same thing for Pakistan. Yeah. So these type of people, they don't fit in that pattern, right? And so they're the ones who are more in tune with the frequency. There's a frequency in the universe that emits a certain frequency. In our case, as
This is very interesting. So you use the word frequency, and before we started recording, you're talking about energetic frequencies. And so to sum up, from what I understand so far, what you're saying is first we have to unlearn to relearn. And
yes,
it also sounds like in order to unlearn, you have to be open to the unknown, if I'm understanding
yes,
correctly. And
yes,
then it's through that unknown and that unseen. So we're not clinging, it's not doing it for the sake of a certificate. It's not doing it for the sake of money or anything visible, but it comes from the subtle energies of the frequencies that make you start to feel more aligned first. That's
yeah,
what I'm understanding so far, if you can correct
yeah. I
me.
mean,
And
if
then
you
it
want,
moves on
the thing is, if you want to make money,
things.
and I don't know if you froze, I think. If you want to make money, then you could be in California or you could be in Manchester like Dr. D. He could have made lots of money there. It's not it's not about money. Money, there's more to life than money. Okay, fine. We taught money, money, money. Okay, fair enough. Okay, we need to feed ourselves. We need to have some comfortable life. We understand that. But essentially, there's something lacking in your heart and your soul. Okay. So the soul,
You're
you were
not
saying,
full.
yeah, the soul, you asking questions earlier, which were vast questions. That's what you, Dr. Lee, was saying. What? But the thing is, the soul is hungry for something, and the heart, which meaning the heart is hungry for something. I was recently reading the other day that when somebody dies, uh, for the brain still active for 2 minutes, right? Even the heart stopped. Yeah. So yes, so that's it's up to 2 minutes, the brain's still alive. So what's that about, really? So anyway, the point is that we dull our senses with entertainment, and in this case, in this country, intoxication. We try to distract ourselves, and that's not what our deen is about. Our deen is not about distracting. It's always says, look at the signs within you, and I will show you my signs within you and the outer head, out in the horizon until you come to believe. So essentially, it's a medicine of signs. So we have to understand the signs, the asbab, what the causations. So we basically have to try to get you to understand. So when in the year 3 students, for example, somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I've got this issue," but that they point to someone else in the body. But the thing is, I've trained them for a number of years to look. In other words, you look after beyond what the client is saying. I mean, a good medical doctor can do that. They also look for signs. Yeah, that's what they do. But for example, here in England, they don't even look at you. They just look at the computer and they give you a prescription. They got through 3 minutes. So
It's
it's
interesting what you're saying, Akita, because in storytelling convention, we learn that any character that you form has a conflict between their wants, their desires, and their needs. and that is what propels the journey.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is that what you're saying is people might think they want something, but actually they start to discover what they really need at the heart of their life to actually be happy. Like blessings and
Yes.
money
Yes.
can be
Yes.
very different things. You can have a lot of money and have no blessings, and you can have a lot less money, but
Yes.
a lot more blessings.
Yes.
And so this seems to be the
Absolutely.
realm of entering that zone of being blessed and blessing others.
Yes.
If you have that healing capacity.
Yes. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so that's
I agree.
something that a person has to be open to beyond the qualifications from what I like, like you're saying that this is open to anyone who comes willingly,
Yeah.
who
Yes.
comes with their own
Exactly. That's what
volition.
Rumi said.
It's almost like the feet are bringing them.
That's what Rumi. Yeah, but that's what he said in Rumi's it's they just come learn, come with open. Just as long as coming with an open mind. If you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this certificate, said in you one of your messages, hurrah, mitai. It's not about that. It's more about a transformation. So the students, for example, when they finish year one, they say, oh, I'm actually a different person. People say I'm a different person. So now it's just yesterday, one of my students, she's finished year three, and she's now doing a thesis. And she said to me that, so she helped me proofread my book. And yeah, alhamdulillah, my book has been published on a couple of weeks ago, and so she helped me proofread it. So I gifted her the book, and she said, she's a pharmacist, and she said, I'm not the same person I was 3 years ago. My life has completely transformed. So the idea is that it's not just obviously we have to give knowledge, but we also have to. Some people go through the process of healing. Well, they all have to go through the process of healing, and some people fight back and say, "Bah, this is not for me," and they drop out.
I guess the thing is that you've got to be comfortable with the fact that very divergent field in the sense that there's not one answer, is there? It could be many answers, and if a person is just looking for the quickest route, then they'll get frustrated because it seems like it's a lifetime's journey.
It is.
I mean, you came to Pakistan, and I know that you come and go quite a bit, and I'm sure that during your time of coming to Pakistan since you've been in England, you've encountered different experiences which have changed your perceptions of things as well as a healer.
Absolutely. No, you're right. It's a life experience. And some things that some of my teachers told me, which like years ago, and I thought, oh, right. At the time, I didn't understand what they're talking about. But so we were taught to just listen and be patient. Just be listening. Yeah. But then it just think, oh, right. That's what they meant. I didn't understand it at the time. And the historical experiences, each nation has their own, each nation, each region, each a person has their own qualities. Yeah. So like something, I'll give you an example, something very simple. Yeah. Like I'll give you a story. It's a story. Yeah. So because we learn by stories. Okay, so the course will be learning by stories as well. Right. So the thing is, I had one person who was a colleague of mine. She's senior to me. Yeah, she's a Western herbalist, Western, well-known Western nutritionist. Yeah, and she's got 30 years experience, more than me. Yeah, and then she said to me, she was asking me, "Oh, she said, I'm really interested in this Unani stuff, and the naturopathy, what it used to teach you, the Unani part of it. She's a naturopath, but Unani part of naturopath." So I said, oh, "Okay." So she came to study with me, and she's older than me, senior to me, and she came and sat on the floor to study with me. An English woman, right? And it's an English woman sat with me on the floor for 3 years to study with me, and I was surprised, quiet, listening to everything I was saying. Okay. Anyway, so then she finished, and I think she couldn't complete it because she had some domestic issues, but she did most of the course. but she obviously she's well known. And then she messaged me like about a couple of months ago, and she said to me, you know, on the course, I taught her that if somebody has a digestive issue and if they don't want to take medicines, if they don't want to, I mean, some people don't want to take medicines, yeah, or they can't take it, they're too weak to take medicines, or they don't like medicines, yeah. Give them khichdi, yeah, and for so khichdi, what your mom made or whatever at home. Yeah, nowadays we put a bit of masala in there because to make it a little bit more interesting. But traditionally, there's no mirch masala in there. And for each mizaj, we make a slightly different khichdi. Okay, slightly adapted.
Can you give
Anyway,
examples of that then? Can you
yeah,
give
yeah.
examples to like what
Apology.
were the different types? What were the could you give examples of for the different humors? What kind of
Yeah,
kitchen would we make?
yes. So for example, there's four humors, four temperaments. Yeah. So hot and dry person, we will have a different khichdi than somebody who's cold a person. So you're more warming things, more slightly more like cinnamon and things like that in there. And anyway, so I taught her that. I taught her. She said, interesting, but she's also studied Ayurveda system of Indians as well before me. But she's interested anyway. So she then she messaged me. So, they can't pronounce her names. She called me Shahid. Anyway, so she says, "Oh, I want to tell you a story." I said, "Well," she said, "I had a patient of mine came to see me for nutrition, and I gave her some because she wouldn't stick to any herbs. She wouldn't take supplements. Wouldn't take that. She had digestive issues for a long time, and I had told her to eat khichdi for phlegmatic people who are cold and moist, because she was cold and moist. But I taught her how to recognize those people. So she said, this woman would obviously phlegmatic people temperament is very different. Like yours and mine are different. We gain patient, yeah. But so she took that khichdi. If I gave you khichdi, Shazia, and you eat it for maybe a week or 2 weeks or something, you'll get fed up of it. This woman ate it for a year, her patient, a year, yeah. Right? Ate it for a year, right? Not just morning and evening, nothing else, right? Her diabetes cured completely. She had diabetes completely cured, right? And she said, I can't believe
What
it.
was inside this khichdi? Can you explain what was in it? What type was she out of the humans?
That's another topic. We'll take a bit of explaining. I have to explain the context of it. But
Okay.
this khichdi that your mom makes, but with no spices, yeah. What I'm saying to you is, I will teach that in the course, inshallah. But I'm saying to you is, my point is, we have, the answers. It's with, it's part of us, yeah. So as Nabi Islam said that we are a universe inside us. We are a universe, but we don't know it. So and also as a culture, as a people, we're very advanced. We're very advanced people. But the issue is that we don't really know ourselves. Allama Iqbal's in your video you shared us, where Imran Khan was quoting that we don't really recognize who we really are. We have an ancient culture and a very advanced culture, a very advanced culture. But the thing is, I am introducing this to people here in the West, and they're saying, "Oh, wow, this is amazing." And if we go back to our people, they say, "Oh, ye kya hai? Khichdi de di, badi baat kar di. Kya badi baat hai?" Because we don't really appreciate who we are. That's our own fault. If I ask you to name him 10 poets, you name William Shakespeare, you'll name Tennyson, you'll name some other people, but you can't name more than two poets, Urdu poets, can you? That's the problem. So we need to. So the idea is for us to reintroduce and appreciate who we are as a very advanced society. As I think once they asked Mahatma Gandhi, they said to him, "What do you think about?" So Western reporter said, "What do you think about Americans' culture?" And he went quiet. He said, "No," he said, Mr. Gandhi, what do you think of American culture?" He said, "If there was one, it'd be a good idea." So these are advanced cultures: India, Pakistan, China, all those stuff. Anyway, I'm digressing.
No, I think it's very interesting because it reminds me of something I read about in places like Mali, where first the homes were made of mud and they were like thermal insulated. And then as they started adding man-made substances to the buildings, they weren't cool in summer. And I think it's the same thing, ghar ki khichdi dal barabar. It's one of those things that people don't value. The basic, even, I mean, that's a very staple diet. The basic things here, where in the West, a lot of things are very processed, they're covered in plastic, they're quick, you put them in the oven. There's not much fresh cooking that has tended to go on. And a lot of the vegetables, by the time they actually get to you, lost a lot of their nutritional value. So it's like going back to basics and not thinking that dining out or going to fast food is actually nutrition. It might be a change from the curriculum. It might be generally a nice change, but it's not something that's going to give you the nutrients that you need. It's going to come from, like you say, the very simple living and eating. It is very interesting that she ate that for a year. It's obviously working for her, and it makes me wonder: like, do we overindulge our guts? Do we bring harm to our bodies by not eating consciously? And it is a lot of destruction and coming back to healing because of eating habits. That's something I'm interested to know more about. Does it happen through food quite a bit?
So you're breaking up. It's difficult to hear what you're saying. For some reason, you're very, very slow. It slows down for some
Okay.
reason.
Can you hear me now?
Saying
Did
network
you hear that?
bandwidth
Did you hear that,
is
Dr.
low.
Too? I didn't hear.
Yeah, it's saying your network bandwidth is low. So you connected on Wi-Fi or through 4G or something. I
No,
don't know.
it's on Wi-Fi. Let me just switch the fan off because maybe the fan is interfering. Give me a second.
Interfering with the sound.
Is it better now? Is it better now?
Yeah, I think your sound is,
Can you
but
hear
the
now?
network is still
Yeah.
saying bandwidth is low. So I don't know what the case is with that.
It's kind of bit.
Well, I'm on my Wi-Fi
Okay.
at home.
Okay.
So
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't know quite what to do.
That's fine. It's
Okay. So I think you're probably asking about what the course content is. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? You want to know what's covered in the course?
no, I think it's just as you're saying that do we mistreat our gut? Do we eat so much that the gut is impacted? Is that what you're saying, Sister Shazia? As far as I can get.
Yes, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So everything is about the gut, in effect. Most diseases are caused because of the gut, and that goes back to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that if the digestive system is out of balance, the rest of the organs become they're like a vessel which they drink from. If that goes out of balance, the rest of the body goes out. So a Unani physician will always look at the gut. Whether it's a naturopath, a Unani, for us, the gut is the most important thing. That's a breeding ground for illnesses. Eating too much, eating incorrect foods, eating foods incorrect for your mizaj, for your temperament, eating at the wrong time. So, for example, traditionally, well, you should be eating more in the morning, the most in the morning, slightly less at lunchtime, and very little at the evening. Is it the opposite? We have our biryanis and our whatnot in the evenings. That's the worst time because the body can't really do anything with that food. It's struggling. Yeah. And you really can't really, even if they don't train you anymore about the digest, like about food and the types of food you should be eating. And I suppose most of the time we spend really to explain the different types of food, the benefits of food, when you should be eating it. Yeah.
Well, and what you're saying makes sense to say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, because in the beginning of the day is when you need the most energy, and then as you're slowing down, then where are you going to have the time to burn it? So
Sure.
logically speaking, it totally makes sense what you're saying. You know, heavier earlier on, and then tapering to lighter as the evening progresses, because then you're going to go to sleep.
Yep.
But I think lifestyles have also against the grain, and then it brings into play again desires and needs. We're not as in touch with our needs anymore as much as we are with our desires. So this is where I can understand you saying that you have to unlearn to relearn, because back to basics of listening to your body.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we don't
That's what
need
I'm
that.
picking up saying.
We don't need that much food. So there's it's a mythology thinking that we need so much food. It's a mythology. If you think about it, you know, when the Sahabas were fighting, I think it was Uhud, if I remember rightly. Yeah, stones on their stomach. Remember that Sahabi went to Prophet ﷺ and said, "Oh, I have a stone on my stomach, one stone." And the Prophet ﷺ believed he said, "I've got more than one stone." So they, I think somebody put it in there, the sort of hadith, somebody put it in the chat about you know, it's the worst thing to feel the stomach. But essentially, the hadith, I mean, it's obviously your sheikhs and your Maulanas won't tell you that even they are a bit economical with the truth, because what they say is that you eat 1/3 for food and 1/3 for air and 1/3 for water. They quote these, but they're being a bit disingenuous, unfortunately, sad. But the Prophet actually said was that it's enough for the Son of Man to have 1, 2, 3 morsels. That's it. If you are more hungry, then you can eat up to 1/3. So they cut the first bit out and they just tell you the second bit, which is a bit disingenuous. Yeah.
So it's kind of giving you the upper level limit, as opposed to
maybe they might give you an extra limit if you give them some more. Okay. So, alhamdulillah. Anything else?
So moving on to the objectives of what made you start thinking about wanting to do this course in Pakistan. And I'm so sorry, you can finish what you were going to say before, but I hope I haven't stolen your thunder.
No, that's okay. Well, Dr. Adil will tell you why I'm doing in Pakistan. As I say, I'm doing the course here, but then maybe Dr. Adil can tell us what's happening in Pakistan, why we're doing this, what's his overall plan.
Assalamu alaikum to everyone. So basically, long story short, you know, I did the course, I think the weekend course with the Hakim Saab back in, I think 2016 or 2017. And what I've realized is, and Malia, who's with us today, is a testament to this, that there are a lot of MBBS students now that are able to, you know, distinguish between the truth and falsehood and what's involved. Basically, the MBBS students now are realizing that they're nothing but vendors for the pharmaceutical industry. And when they've come to that realization, then they are coming to, and I would actually like to hear Malia's perspective also today, that why is it that she rang me, I think last month or something, and she said that, you know, I've had enough of this medicine system. I want to go back to the roots of medicine and learn things like Unani, Hijama. So what I've realized is that there's a huge vacuum that's being created, especially in Pakistan, because our students now, because of the exposure and because of the experience, are realizing that there's something not right about the conventional medicine system. And therefore, they're looking for alternatives. And because they're looking for alternatives, I think the other thing is that people that are currently providing the alternative medicine, they're teaching it in a very unconventional way, or a way that we are not used to. So, for example, lecture halls, slides, PowerPoints, and, you know, modern day tools and techniques. So what I saw in Hakim Saab's work when I was in the UK, that he has the best of both worlds. You know, he's able to teach these traditional concepts in a modern way, which we are familiar with. And so this is why I think his way of teaching is very effective. So anyway, he usually comes in Ramadan, I think after every 2 years or a few years. So I always, request him to get in touch with me. So he was over last Ramadan, and I basically requested him that we should do something in Pakistan. And following on from that, we had one session with Dr. Masuma. We were supposed to do one last month, but we, for some reason, didn't materialize. So I thought we must have one this month before we actually enroll and get the diploma course started. And like with anything, like the product life cycle, the introduction phase is always about struggle. So always about convincing people, and it's always about getting your message out. But inshallah, you have to start somewhere. Like every master was once a disaster. So we have to begin, right? So we have to get about, even if it's 5 people, 6 people, 10 people, ideally 30 people, we must begin. And inshallah, with time, as more people like Hakim Saab come to fruition, then this, this science, or this, this knowledge can then be transferred even further. So in a nutshell, this is what it is. And in terms of practicality, how we've planned things is that Hakim Saab will be doing these courses virtually each month, and then after a few months, then inshallah he will come in person to do the physical aspects, the practical aspects. In meantime, looking at Dr. Masuma's schedule, if she's available, then perhaps she can train people practically also, but we need to yet discuss that. But so this is what we have in mind. So perhaps I think 4 or 6 months worth of online training, and then 1 month of practical training with the Hakim Saab coming to Pakistan. So this is what we have in mind. And the other thing is this, which I wanted to share with everyone, that Alhamdulillah, there are people like Hakim Saab who are really patriotic. I say they're more patriotic than even people in Pakistan. They're more loyal and faithful to the country, and he wants to do this as a way of service, for our people. I mean, because I was in Manchester, so I know you can easily earn magnitudes more doing something in the US or the UK. But I requested him to subsidize this as much as he can for the people in Pakistan. So what he's doing, for example, for something that £150 per month, he's just doing for 5,000 rupees in Pakistan. So he's one person, and Sheikh Omar Vidilo, similarly, in Turkey, he's done something similar for his course on riba, usury, and economic systems. So these people, for us Pakistani, these people are gems. We really have to value and respect them for really thinking about our people. So in terms of signing up, we have created a form which inshallah I'll share. And I'll create a link in the YouTube when we upload this and in the groups. So there's the early bird discount price is 5,000, which will be till the 14th of August. So whoever signs up before Azadi, Jashni Azadi, then you have a special treat. But those that don't sign up, then then you have to Azadi nahi milegi fir.
There's something I wanted to point
Yeah,
out, which I
sure.
found interesting as a phenomenon when you were speaking. Is the fact that people like Maliha, who have trained conventionally, are moving towards this, is in parallel with the amount of fast food and processed food that we now consume. Doctors are now manufactured, and this is in complete contrast to what Hakim Saab was saying, that this is not formulaic. It's not you are doing a medical degree, so this will appeal to you. This plus this doesn't equal this. It's very organic, and it's something that it seems that Hakim Saab has come across as students, people from all walks of life. But the thing they have in common is that, like in Urdu, shaur, they have this authenticity, this capacity to want to get in touch with their reality first. And so I'm not surprised somebody like Maliha, who takes a great interest in humanitarian causes, why she would be very, very interested in going to the heart of healing itself, not just touting the latest developments pharmaceutically speaking, because you get people who will just toe the line to pass on information, and then you get people who they'll develop a system that is very unique. It's like haute couture. It's like tailoring something especially for each patient. And it seems like, rather than standardizing, this is about reclaiming your individual capacity to live life to the full.
Yeah.
So, going back to the fact that we're not all on a conveyor belt, we're not all exactly the same. We don't fit one mold, neither, whether it be a healer or the one being healed.
Yeah.
Kind of respecting differences and acting accordingly. So I think this is a very interesting course from that perspective. That hats off to both of you that you've come up with this, because I think at a time when we're so brand conscious and so many people kind of want to have an alliance to be tied to something externally, they're losing their internal connection.
Finally.
So
I think it would be very interesting to hear from Maliha.
Yeah, I think so. I would also like
drew
to
her was this.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Malia, would you like to share a few words? Malia, if you just share your journey and why have you decided to switch from conventional medicine to alternative? Please go ahead.
Okay, firstly, I have noticed that modern medicine is mostly based on treating like symptomatic जो होती है ना treatment वो दे देता है मतलब जो symptoms होंगे superficially they will treat you, they will like say that you have been cured by just removing the symptoms of the disease. But otherwise their intention is not to cure you because they basically want you to come back more frequently, it depends on the frequency कितनी जल्दी patient दोबारा वापस आएगा उसी से पैसे मिलेंगे, right, doctor को. So the intention is also not pure as in patient के लिए जो intention होती है ना, तो ये बात है. और ये है कि जो जिस चीज से ट्रीट किया जा रहा है, जो मेडिकेशंस कहते हैं कि ट्रीट कर देते हैं, तो उसमें ये कि nobody is told how many side effects are of that particular medicine. So every medicine that you take in has toxic elements and side effects. So it comes down to the fact that you would firstly want to avoid taking medication. No doctor will tell you this. वो आपको ये नहीं बताएंगे कि आप अपनी डाइट ठीक करें या अपना कुछ और तरीका मतलब ऑर्गेनिक वे फिर आप मेडिकेशन लें. दे विल स्टार्ट विद मेडिकेशन, जबकि असल में जो बॉडी होती है उसकी जो हीलिंग कैपेसिटी है वो ऑलरेडी अल्लाह ताला ने रखी है, उसी पे फिर उसी को हेल्प करना है ना हमें, नॉट गिव मजीद जो है मतलब हम चीजें एडिशनल केमिकल टॉक्सिक चीजें जो हम मजीद ऐड इन कर दें, and then the body has to overcome that as well, and also the disease. So it's like more of a burden than the cure itself. और जो सर ने बात की थी जो शेख बुखारियन, उन्होंने जो बात की है डायबिटीज की क्योर की. So in modern medicine there is no concept of this कि diabetes can be cured fully. So then my question is कि कैंसर जो है उसको भी आप यही बोल रहे हैं कि वो कभी क्योर नहीं हो सकती, डायबिटीज को भी आप यही बोल रहे हैं कभी क्योर नहीं हो सकती. So what do you mean? Like then it's like a whole question mark on the concept of modern medicine, that you don't really believe in cure, you just believe in superficial kind of healing, so
It sounds
that
like Maliha ji, jo aap keh rahi hain, it's medicine is now a commercial pursuit that's very lucrative. So it's more about, in a way, keeping people ill enough to make money.
yeah.
आप जब बात कर रही थी, you were saying something that really reminded me of जैसे पुराने जमाने में आप एक फ्रिज लेते थे तो वो 30 साल लास्ट करता था. अब जो चीजें मसनूआत जो प्रोडक्ट्स बन रहे हैं उनकी गारंटीज 2-4 साल के लिए होती है, लेकिन अब चीजें जो बन रही हैं इवन ऑन प्रोडक्शन पर्सपेक्टिव वो बिल्ड टू लास्ट नहीं है, वो पायदार नहीं है। और इसी तरह अब मेडिसिन में लोग कमा रहे हैं उनकी दवाइयों से, तो शिफा की बात ही नहीं है। बात ये कि आप उनकी चीजें इस्तेमाल करें ताकि आप डिपेंडेंट हो। जैसे इवन मुझे याद है एक चीज हुई थी जब मैं अमेरिका गई थी कि मैंने मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस नहीं लिया था, थोड़ी देर के लिए जा रही थी वाइंड अप करने के लिए वहां पे, और फिर मैं जा नहीं सकी डॉक्टर के पास। तो मेरी दोस्त, क्योंकि मैं मस्जिद के सामने रहती थी, ने कहा कि आप ऐसे क्यों नहीं करती, आप कलौंजी के बीज को पिसवा के आप रॉ हनी जो है शहद के साथ मिला के क्यों नहीं खाती। एंड ऑनेस्टली मैंने वो किया 4-5 दिन, और साथ साथ एप्पल साइडर विनेगर को शहद के साथ, एंड आई फेल्ट सो गुड व्हेन आई गॉट बेटर। जो यूजुअली एंटीबायोटिक्स आप खाते उसके बाद मेरे नर्व्स खींचे जाते थे, and I started to really realize that this was Tibbi Nabwi. This was what was recommended. That there's great wisdom in that. That it really, you're right. It does, like, the healing process goes on within the body. It doesn't need to be overburdened with medication. And so I उस दिन से मैंने कभी antibiotics नहीं ली दोबारा, because I really realized the difference afterwards. I would generally feel very depleted, completely जैसे wiped out. ठीक है वो बीमारी में चाहे खांस नहीं रही थी, लेकिन I just felt so washed out for quite a few weeks. इसके साथ I bounced back and felt healthier. And so it's very, very interesting the way the world is going, and then emerging from all of this, then people like yourself who are saying something doesn't feel right to me. I want to go deeper.
I think
And
Dr. Malia ने जो कहा है ना, I think she's managed to summarize the whole problem. जो few words में ना इन्होंने जो कहा है Dr. Malia ने, that's actually the issue. Everything she's covered. लेकिन एक चीज है interesting, for example मेरे पास जो कुछ patients आते हैं, they are medical doctors, and they come to me because उनका ये situation, for example, there's no solution for dysmenorrhea, amenorrhea, यानी कि cycles जब start नहीं होता उसको amenorrhea बोलते हैं, या dysmenorrhea होता है, या heavy periods होते हैं, painful periods होते हैं, irregular periods होते हैं. There is no real solution in Western medicine. I call it Western medicine. There is no real solution for that. So, and it's very easy to cure in our medicine. But it's the only thing क्या करेंगे यहाँ इस country में, तो they put the woman on the pill. Yeah.
and that has complications.
Of course it is, because as Dr. Mireya will tell you that they don't want to take it. People who know about it, they don't want to take it. In fact, मेरे साथ एक बात हुई थी with she was a doctor, and I said, what would you give to your patients? कहती है, I will give them the pill. I said, why are you not taking the pill? She said, I won't take that muck. यानी कि ये rubbish मैं खुद नहीं लूंगी. तो मैंने कहा, why can't you be forced to? हमारे पास there's no solution to it. And quite interesting.
But doesn't that have the possibility of breast cancer as well?
Yeah, but ये भी मजबूर है ना. वो क्या करें? What's the solution? We are trapped. एक matrix में हम trapped है. लेकिन just one thing I want to say, one thing, then I'll push it back to you. But डॉक्टर मिलिया ने कहा कि डायबिटीज के बारे में कोई क्योर नहीं है. They say cancer का cure, there's no cure. But one thing you to think about, you don't have to answer now, it's something to digest. There's no, you have bone cancer, you have blood cancer, you have brain cancer, you have skin cancer, etc., etc. But there is one organ that never gets cancer. Something to think about. This is your little homework to do, and find out which organ that never gets cancer, and that will give you the answer for the solution. So, this is not everybody has to do work. Yeah, go home and exercise and think over it. Dr. Milia as well, and Dr. Adil and Shazia and Hani and all the others, and think about which organ never gets a cancer and why not. Anyway,
Is it the
back
heart?
to you. Yes, yes. Oh, why though? Why though?
Because it
Yeah.
well, the two, well, if there's a physical reason, physics reason, and then there's two reasons they say. So one is that it has the highest voltage of all the body parts, and secondly they say that basically it takes all the good quality blood and leaves the rest quality blood for the rest of the body.
Yeah.
So is that
That's
right?
correct. That's correct. That's correct. But from our perspective, we say that with mizaj, it's hot and moist. And so if you know the mizaj of heart being hot and moist and can't get cancer, what do you think the mizaj of cancer is?
Cold and dry.
Yes. Well done.
Opposite.
You're
Yeah.
already my students. You're already learning. This is your first lesson. So this is exactly how you be taught in class. This is how you be taught. And basically, cancer is considered to be cold and dry. So how do we mitigate? How do we sort the problem? We need to give something which is hot and moist. But anyway, that would involve a good 1 year of training. You guys are quite brainy, mashallah. Pakistani is very brainy.
Mashallah, I
So,
think Hani wants to ask something regarding the
yes,
diploma. So Hani,
yes,
please, if you
ask
like
her.
to unmute. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum. How are
Walaikum
you?
salam. I haven't been receiving any messages, so I'm thinking my life. कोई मैसेज लंबे लंबे मैसेज नहीं मिल रहे, तो मैंने सोचा कि आप बिल्कुल 100% ठीक हो गई हैं.
नहीं, I am about to send you लंबे messages. I have a lot of feedback and I'm really enjoying the treatment actually. मेरे डिप्लोमा को लेके ना कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं और वो ये सबसे जहन में चल रहे हैं from the time I've just met you.
जी.
मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन ये है कि आपने एक बात कही कि ये उन लोगों के लिए बेस्ट है जिनकी कॉलिंग हो हीलिंग की.
जी.
राइट. सो आई डू हैव इट. और मुझे जो 1-2 सालों से रेजिस्टेंस है वो ये है कि people would even sit with me and they would say कि they healed in a way. और मेरे बहुत से फ्रेंड्स साइकोथेरेपिस्ट और डॉक्टर्स they would say कि तुम हीलिंग के अराउंड कुछ करो. And I would just ignore it. मेरे साथ ये मसला है कि if I'm working on healing with somebody, I get sick. तो मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे ये है कि जब आप ये कहते हैं कि you will heal your students सबसे पहले energetically or spiritually, what exactly is that? Is that a kind of a protection also? मतलब वो क्या है जो आप healing करेंगे हमारी?
जी जी ठीक है. So basically, first and foremost, ये जो है ना ये course about healing है. So there is theoretical information. So you need to have theory. ठीक है ना. So it's not airy fairy. ठीक है ना. So जैसे कि हम नमाज भी पढ़ते हैं, ये नहीं कि हम सिर्फ जिक्र करते जाएं तो हम सोचेंगे ठीक है हम जन्नत में चले जाएंगे. मेहनत भी करनी पड़ती है ना. सुबह सुबह उठना पड़ता है नमाज के लिए. ठीक है ना. So you will get training to understand, for example, just go quickly through the syllabus. We'll talk about the elements, we talk about the mizaj, we talk about the humors. पहले साल जो है ना ठीक है ना. फिर आपको नब्ज सिखाएंगे, नब्ज कैसे पढ़नी है. दैट्स अ वेरी ट्रिकी थिंग. तो एक और कॉन्सेप्ट है जो इसमें कहते हैं पैरानैथ्रोपैथी, इरिडोलॉजी, जो नंबर ऑफ विल गो थ्रू इरिडोलॉजी, लुकिंग थ्रू द आईज एंड ट्राइंग टू वर्क आउट व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन. ठीक है ना. Then आगे जाके फिर each lesson you'll be doing a assignment. आप assignment करेंगे तो मैं उसको mark करूँगा. तो and then the end of the year you'll do an examination first year. Similarly, the next year we'll go more deep in depth in etiology, causations, क्यों ऐसे होता है, why people get dry, why people get can't sleep, why people, all the whys. असबाब के बगैर we can't treat somebody. So somebody is coming in and saying he has a headache, for example, or she has a headache, and they say हमारे लिए तो it's not enough. If they go to Dr. Malia, they say, okay, have aspirin or something like that. For us, aspirin is the worst thing to give to some people, because if it's a cold headache, they'll get worse because aspirin is cold. उसका मिजाज ठंडा है, so it'll get worse. So we need to know who it is. If somebody says on the internet, Hani's search, oh, bananas are very good for her, so she's eating banana, वो उसका मिजाज बदल गया, she'll get worse. ठीक है ना? So we will teach you all those things. Now, बाकी जो ये है कि on a certain level, in the class, which is you wouldn't be able to work out. Yeah. I am, because obviously my job is to recognize people, the temperaments, by looking at them, and then every person has a different condition. So, and then in your homework and your assignment, for example, if for example Dr. Adil gave me his assignment, उसके साथ आप marking differently. You gave me assignment, mark it differently. आपने ये क्या है? Dr. Adil को तो आपने 80% दे दिया है, मुझे इधर 55% की दी। ये क्या किया है? Is to teach you, to train you differently, because you need that. Some people need chaper, some people need pyar. You know, I know it's sounding very harsh, but unfortunately, हर आदमी को तो चपेट नहीं पड़नी चाहिए ना, किसी को प्यार देना चाहिए, किसी को इंकरेज करना चाहिए, किसी को सख्ती देनी चाहिए. सो बट आई हैव टू रिकॉग्नाइज दैट. मैं आपको ये बताऊं कि आफ्टर टीचिंग हियर वी हैव अ फुल डे, यहाँ तो 2 आवर्स होगा, अभी फुल डे में होता है कि मैं कंप्लीटली वैक्ड हो जाता. आफ्टर डूइंग द लेसन आई एम लिटरली एग्जॉस्टेड, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट हैविंग वन मरीज, आई एम हैविंग 30 मरीज. वो तो मुझे बीमार कर देते हैं ना. फिर मैं बैठता हूँ एक दिन लगता है पूरा, बिकॉज मेरी एनर्जी तो एग्जॉस्ट हो जाती है ना, बिकॉज आई एम गिविंग माई एनर्जी टू देम. Because when you teaching or healing people, you're giving part of yourself to them.
So how
This
do
is
you
exactly
care?
what my question is around. कि मैंने
जी.
पिछले 2 सालों में I've just I've tried to interact as less as possible with people. Just एक resistance create हो गई है कि I just don't want to, क्योंकि जब मुझे exhausted feel होता है या मुझे लगता है कि मैं sick हो रही हूँ, तो I'm like कि why should I go into something like this जो मुझे
Yeah.
exhaust करता है.
अच्छी बात. नहीं सही बात है. So you go into this to heal yourself. Okay. So first of all,
Is
yes,
there the right intention
no,
कि मैं
you
सिर्फ अपने लिए ये चीज करूं?
नहीं देखो,
To
आप
start
अपने लिए
with.
पता करें ना पहले. अब क्या कहते हैं, अफगाती शेर अव्वल दरवेश ऐसे कुछ है, मुझे अब याद नहीं आ रहा. लेकिन फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू नीड टू हील योरसेल्फ. ठीक है ना? So this course inshallah will help you, because I know you have the ability to, you have the frequency. आपके अंदर frequency है. मैंने obviously that's my job to recognize people. आपके अंदर है, and आपके अंदर शिफा भी है. लेकिन the thing is you are also आपका frequency इधर उधर जा रही है. It's not focused. It's here and there. It's not challenged properly. Yeah, so we need to challenge, because obviously you have it inside you, but somebody can have raw energy, but if it's not correctly handled, it can be harmful. Yeah. So you would not be going into something like yourself. See, Dr. Melia would be going for a different reason, because she's recognized, she's seen the matrix. Okay, उसमें क्या है? Fault है. ठीक है ना? Because she's in the belly of the beast. उसको तो पता चल गया ना, वो तो समझ गई है यार मसला बन गया ये. मैं तो समझ गया, ओहो मैंने तो इतने साल लगाए थे पढ़ने में, ये तो इसमें तो बदबू आ रही है. लेकिन in your case you coming from a different purpose. You coming because you want to heal yourself. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Any other questions?
And one last question. और वो
course.
ये है कि like I wanted to say yes to it on the very first time, लेकिन मैं ये सोचती रही कि अच्छा like पढ़ाई wise इसका burden होगा, how would I manage the time, assignments and all this stuff, like ये too much है. Yeah, it's very easily manageable for somebody who's working or who has like long hours.
It will be challenging. It will be challenging. I'll be honest with you, it will be challenging, because I will make you work a little bit. But if you feel that you see, you got to be drawn towards this. You might be drawn towards it, but it might not be the right time. अगर आप सोचते हैं कि ये टाइम आपका अभी नहीं है, then you can join us next year. You see, so we're not saying, oh, आज बिस्मिल्लाह करें जी, you know, numbers बन जाएंगे. It's nothing about numbers. It's about the people have to be ready for it. If you feel, if you
have space in your life for it, Hannah.
Yeah, it's nothing about here with nothing. First of all, you know, neither myself or Dr. Deal or Shazi, any of us here looking for, we're not looking for converts here. हमने नहीं ऐसे ऐसा नहीं है मसला हम कह रहे हैं कि you need to be ready. The very first question that Shazia asked me was, what type of people will be coming towards this? But and I said to her, you have to be ready for this. ठीक है ना? Your heart might be ready, but your body might not be ready. Yeah.
Since
Okay.
I'm
You
recognized
might want it,
what
but
do
you can't.
you recognize about me? Is that the right time for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want it, but you might not need it right now.
Yeah.
It's when you
Might not
need
be
it,
ready.
your
Yeah.
need and your want is one. Then you'll be ready.
Want is different. Method. I want a lot of things. I want to be like the most richest man in the world. I don't want to, but I'm just saying I want to be this and that. I don't know what इंसान वो क्या कहते हैं ये भी एक शेर है ना हर
हजारों ख्वाहिशें के दम
So,
निकले.
yeah. Yeah, so Mirza Ghalib said that. So we have a lot of desires, but it might not be appropriate for us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the biggest guide. So we have a secret weapon. Istikhara.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
We never use it. We should be using it regularly. Istikhara is Allah, and there you have your guides, you have istikhara, you have your whenever you make a decision, you need to ask Allah, you need to invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you need to ask wise people next to you.
Hakeem Saab, there is something, touching on that, that Hani's kind of brought into the fore that I find very interesting is how do healers self-care? When do you know you're reaching burnout? What are the signs? And how do you reverse that? Because like you say, you must get tired, especially if you're an energetically sensitive person and you're absorbing other people's energies. How do you cope with that on a day-to-day basis?
So, wow. So that's something that I do teach my students and year 3 about those techniques. But essentially, there are tricks and techniques that we do to protect ourselves because with this, when you really, if you're really open to hearing people, most people don't hear anybody else. They don't. They don't. They just don't. We don't have patience. Obviously, in Pakistan, I see the people are a bit more patient. Here, they're very impatient. If they don't get better in 1 week, they care for Zula. It's waste of time, right? And they're going to put something on Facebook about me that this guy is an idiot. Yeah, so that's fine. But in Pakistan, they seem to be much more patient, comparatively speaking, to these people. They're what's the word? Empowered or something like that, whatever.
I think in the West, instant gratification is now so prevalent. Touch a button, get what you want straight away, order it, it's there within 2 hours. That it's ये भी एक बीमारी है. ये एक बीमारी है ज़हनी तौर पे और जिस्मानी तौर पे. To expect everything to be just like that.
Yeah, and when they get everything, they're still not happy. The point is that I don't mind telling you that people have phoned me, abused me on the phone, that I've taken the medicine one month. How come I'm not better than that? Okay, fine, but the point is that they're not going to get better because इनका mindset नहीं ठीक ना, you see. And so in terms of myself, I do things like I create barriers. When I'm taking, I have to show, when I teach students, I teach them that frankincense, bukhur vara, things like that. There are these things that help you to protect it. But even then, I have to have a shower afterwards and things like that. It is very, very draining because I have to really open myself. So now, for example, when I started, I'm to just face read the doctor, what his current state is, what his energies are, what's yours. So I can't help it. I have to switch myself off. Yeah. So, but the good news is both of you are actually giving me good energy. Because both
Hakeem Saab, do you need alone time? Like you're sitting in your garden now, aren't you? I've heard that if you walk barefoot on the grass, that helps. Like, can you give a few tips about stuff? And maybe, like I've heard that barley is like a natural antidepressant. If oranges, lemons, they're serotonin. What are the kind of things your regime keep your force
there-
feels strong.
there's a lot of things, but as I say, it will take an hour session to explain to you, because there are people with different energetic weaknesses. There some people have weakness energy in the stomach. Some people, like for example, for them, I would say eat like, you're gonna start laughing, but a lot of these people with ADHD, the people with this ADHD, that type of conditions, they need to be grounded, and you'll be surprised. It's things like pie. You'll think, what the hell is he on about? Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's a lot of it's food driven. You'd be surprised. So we have a concept called large ghazal, or in Arabic, large ghazal, treatment by food. That's a key technique. Right. We're not earthed. We're not earthed, so we're good touching the ground, but it's a bit more complex. So it would take a long time to go through the whole process. Yeah.
But you're going to teach that as well, that how people
Of course, I have
can
to.
conserve the energy and replenish them, recharge.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
part of this course as well.
There is so many things. There's so many things, and we have them. Massage, walking, praying, dhikr, foods, and which types of food, the certain foods will help you. Yeah. And there's different foods that you should be eating, but it should be different from Dr. Adil. Yeah. There are different type of energetics, the type of things that Dr. Milia will have is different. Everyone's different. So we can't, as you said earlier, there's no one prescription. Yeah. So we have to tailor-made the prescription. I can give you general advice, but specifically it has to be for an individual. For example, in your case, long walks would be very good for you. Particularly long walks are very important for you. For you doing reading tahajjud prayers would be very beneficial. To reading those type of dhikrs from your sheikh, that would help you. With Dr. D would be a different thing. Yeah. Dr. D, for example, needs hijama. Yeah. So everybody it has to be a particular prescription for the individual.
And does that change over time as well? Like
Yes.
if you prescribe one thing at one time, and
Yes.
I can honestly say I endorse what you've just said, because I was told by a herbalist recently, you need to walk for 20 minutes every day. It's really important. It's like a car. It's like keeping the engine running. So
Yes.
I agree with you about the tahajjud as well.
You need more than 40 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll take that as a prescription,
You need
and
an
I'll
hour.
start doing.
You need an hour. You need an hour. Half an hour before in the morning, half an hour in the evening. But the
Okay.
point is, things do change, of course. Yeah. And
So
you
what
need.
Sorry.
So I'm saying that you need to use ustukhodus, lavender for you is good for you. But anyway, what I'm saying is you can see that it has to be specifically some person. So the thing that I would give Hani would be different to what I would get Dr. Deal, what I give to Malia. Everyone's different. And I have to look at Malia, for example, Dr. Malia. I have to see them. It's like that. But all these things will train you. And
I will say that when Hakeem Saab met me, Hakeem Saab said something that nobody who has ever met me before for the first time would ever know or say. And it was very fundamental to my upbringing, my circumstances. So when Hakeem Saab says something like this, I'll take it very, very seriously, because it's straight from the heart. And I think there are very few people in my life that I've met that have been able to, in such a short space of time, get to the heart of the matter. So this is definitely, mashallah, a gift. And something I wanted to ask you was, if we go through the years very quickly, by the end of the first year, what can people expect to have achieved second and third? Could you run us through those, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I sort of ran through it early quickly, but I'll go through it again. But answer to your first bit that you said, important to say that if, for example, you or Dr. Hadi or Dr. Malia or Hani or whoever decides to join us, it's me learning from you, in the sense that by looking at you, I learn about myself. So that's very important to understand, because when I say you, I mean your soul is on you, your life experience of X amount of years, and Dr. Deal, all you people there are the ones that actually, I learned a lot from Dr. Deal. I learned a lot from you. Your Hani sent me these very interesting long messages. I say long messages, but they're very interesting, very detailed, right? When I look at them, I really enjoy them. No, I actually enjoy them because that tells me a lot about me. Yeah. Yeah. So you gotta understand, it's not a one-way process. It's people teach. It doesn't go like this way. It goes this way. The energetic goes this way. Anyway, so that's that. And regarding the the course material, so as I said earlier, what we do is we try we talk about the concepts of what we call the theory of naturals. You know, the concept of the hemisphere, the universe, and how we're connected with it, how the energetics of the universe, how it affects us, how it affects our health. Yeah, it's very important. So if you, for example, you know, have you heard the word lunatic? Lunatic comes a word from Luna.
The moon, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the cycle, a female cycle is affected by the moon, the tides, etc. So we try to understand that we try to understand that the terminology of the spirit and the vital spirit, which is the ruh inside us. Yeah. And we talk about some concept of elements and mizaj and with the mizaj at different ages and different locations, and then we talk about something they call humors, which are created from food. What are they? What effect do they have on the health? Talk about organs. We talk about faculties and functions, and what and then we talk about post diagnosis. So we not talk about we will do post diagnosis. I will teach you, and I will there will be theory and practical, and how we work out illnesses from the pulse and from the stool and from the urine, tongue, and then I said we to include something called iridology. We include that, and then that's the year
Sorry,
one.
can I ask you about that a little bit more? Because there's a photo on YouTube of you with a kind of contraption looking deeply into someone's eye. Can you give us a bit more information on? There's a few things I want to ask you. One is, what's the difference between Unani and naturopathy? And the second question is, what is iridology?
Yeah. So naturopathy means natural medicine, just natural medicine. Yeah. So it encompasses all alternative medicines, whether it's Unani, Ayurveda, DCM, comes in a. So even though predominantly this is going to be Unani, but this is going to be include a number of other elements which come under the category of naturopathy. Like for example, iridology is not part of Unani. That's an example. Yeah. There's other things as well. So what iridology does is that with the classical Unani, we look at pulse. So if you go to some Hakim in I don't know, Chuburji or something, I'm just saying, making it up here. You go there and say, oh, you know, Hakim Saab, I'm something not feeling well. He looks at a pulse and says, gives a prescription. You don't know what he's seen. You know, I had a lot of trouble with people said they will teach me pulse and they didn't know anything. And I spent, you know how it is, doctor. I took time of work here, went to Pakistan, wasted my time. Yeah. So, and I found out, oh, they're quacks. So I just came back. Yeah. But iridology is more about looking through the eyes. Yeah. So if you're very light color eyes, like blue eyes or green eyes, you don't even need a camera. You can see from a distance. There's certain markings on the eyes. Yeah. If it's darker color eyes, then you need a camera or a magnifying glass to amplify it. And from there, you'll be able to work out the genetic composition. What you you may not necessarily get that. And it's people to back to your grandparents and their genetic what type of illnesses they had. So by your female side, the right will tell me your male side. It will tell me all about the illnesses, the diseases that they had, and you have inherited them. It may not mean that you've got those. So from there, I can work out. Example, I took a pulse of somebody. A girl came in, and I took a pulse, and I found out she had digestive issues and things like that. So it it so I said to her, "Oh," she said, "Oh," I said, "Do you want to do iridology?" She said, "Yeah, I'll do iridology." So I did iridology. We took a picture of the eye, And I said, oh, there's something with your eye, with your ear. There's something with your ear, the right ear. There's something not right with your right ear. So she was wearing a scarf like you are, so your hair, a more tighter one, so I couldn't see the ears. But I said, there's something not right. And people, obviously, I said, it's a privileged society. They get it. That's not my ear. I don't know what you're talking about. So, it's okay, fine. I said, I'm not sure. So I spent an hour with her. And it was when she actually left. And she was opened the door. She turned around. She says, oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I don't have a right ear. And when I was born without a right ear, and then I had to, as a baby, they created the ear, didn't they? So as a child, but because it was part of her, she forgot about it, right? So the iridology showed me that. Yeah. So certain things that you can get from iridology. So we would be teaching that, inshallah, and then a question. Somebody had a question? No. No.
So
Okay.
I was going to ask you,
then
will that
as
be
I
in the
said, each
practical?
lesson you have to do an assignment and you have to do an exam at the end of the day. When you pass the first year, you'll go into the second year where we talk about diseases, the concept of disease classification, disease of sorry? You were there?
Sorry, I was going to ask you,
Can you hear me?
will the iridology be taught practically or in theory?
Well, it'll be both.
Or a mixture?
It'll be both. So it has to be, it'll be theory and practical. Yeah. And so year 2, as I said, we go into diseases, causes of diseases, in much more. Now you're still a student now. You want to do more hard work and the causes. What causes obstruction? What causes discontinuity? What causes ulcers? What causes swelling? Different types of swelling, hot swelling, cold swelling. Basically, it's a lot of much more detail. Nutrition. We talk a bit of Unani nutrition or naturopathic nutrition. We talk about sort of we do single herbs and that type of thing, and then some other techniques, and then you basically now ready for the final year where we take live cases, preparing you to handle actual clients, patients, and then so you see cases and we observed, and I guide you on how to take a case. You present your case, and then we also teach you compound formulation, how to make things, and also some diseases and things like that. So for example, each year that some main conditions, female conditions, digestive conditions, that type of thing. So it's quite a handful, and you do the exam, then you do a thesis, and you do cases. So you're really, really ready now to open your own practice, inshallah, in Pakistan.
Is that by the end of the second year or by the end of the third year?
You have to do this over the space of 3 years. Yeah, it's not a walk in the park. You have to work for it, because I not only correct you internally, but then now you have to learn some stuff.
So it's an internal shift, and externally, you develop skills as well, and also the acumen to assess. It sounds.
So yeah, because the thing is, I prepare you now for everything. You're not ready now to face the world. Yeah, and the ridicule of doctors and other people and making fun and all that stuff. You're not ready to face, and you're able to heal people. But I don't, even though you now left the breast, I still have to keep an eye on you. So I'll have to mentor you and guide you, and every so often we get together. Once you graduated, once a month or so, every other month, you present cases and you discuss it with me, and I'll say, well, you're off, you're wrong here. What you should do with it, it's not that. So, and then hopefully, once I've passed into the other world, maybe other people take over that.
And it sounds as though that's all very important as well, to be connected to other healers.
Yes.
And in that, you raise each other's vibration,
Yes.
through the supervision. That may be your collective force field.
Yes.
Vibration. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a bit like circles of zikr, but you're doing it in terms of shifa.
Inshallah.
Mashallah. It sounds amazing. It really does sound really, really interesting.
And just make dua, it will be successful. And we've got people like Dr. Adil, who's obviously done a lot of projects, and we got him to help us to do this. because I wouldn't be able to do it without Dr. Adil, because he's the plan on the ground. And I'm just I'm the teacher, but he's the logistic guy.
I'm just trying to do
I
work.
think you make an amazing
like
combination. I think Dr. Adil has a lot of practical experience living here now for 6 years. I mean, mashallah, we have some interesting conversations, and I learn a lot from Dr. Adil as well. One thing I'll say is Dr. Adil has a lot of patience, and he has a lot of rahmah, because moving from one country to another, and obviously there are foibles in each society, it can be very difficult and very challenging. And you know, Hakeem Saab, you left a long time ago, and so I think Dr. Adil is your armor. That's how I see him. He's your armor. You have the sword in your hand, mashallah, Hakeem Saab, but you don Adil Saab on like an armor. And as long as you have your armor on, you'll be okay, inshallah.
Inshallah, you know, there's a long way to go. You know, my dream for this year was to get people connected from outside of Pakistan that are well wishes for Pakistan with the Pakistanis. And Alhamdulillah, you know, inshallah, we have managed to do that with Sheikh Umar Vadilo and the usury system, etc. And this is our second case study with Hakeem Saab. And you know, it's a learning, you know, it's new, it's a novel thing, because people haven't done really experimented with this in the past. So inshallah, there'll be a lot of learning. I just wanted to answer your question, Sister Shazi, because a lot of people ask me the same question, that when healers get burnt out, how do we manage ourselves and etc., because that's a huge issue. So I just wanted to share some things from my life journey, because the first episode where I basically had my nervous breakdown was linked to being overworked, you know, and absolutely depleting everything I had. And so I learned a lot from that journey. And just like your body needs, for example, your physical heart needs you to do some exercise and some movement. Similarly, what I learned on my journey was that your spiritual heart also needs it. So, for example, what I had to end up doing was reciting Surah Yasin and Surah Rahman every day. That's what would keep me in balance. So just as you have physical practices, you need to develop spiritual practices. So that's what I realized. So Surah Rahman is the heart of the Quran. So Surah Yasin. So Yasin is the heart of the Quran. And so when you recite the heart of the Quran, your spiritual heart is also ignited. You know, and then Surah Rahman, you know, is linked to healing. And what I realized is that when I'm low on healing energy, then this is something that I need to recite. So I've tried to make this one of my daily practices. And then the other thing is, what I've realized, especially since I've come to Pakistan, is that you need, just like Mashallah Hakeem Saab's a healer, even a healer needs a healer. So, for example, there'll be some things that I can, you know, treat myself, but there's certain aspects that I actually go to the people to ask advice from. You know, sometimes when you know, my kidneys are contracted or I'm thinking too much, unable to sleep, then I would go to someone like Dr. Masuma, who would do her acupuncture on me and, you know, balance things, and then I'll be able to sleep. So the thing is, even healers need healers. So, and one of this might sound quite selfish, but that's one of the reasons why I want to create more healers in Pakistan. So, so I have someone to go to. So, because
What's
sometimes
the choice, inshallah?
because I can't afford a ticket all the way to Hakeem Saab all the time. I can't go to, you know, Manchester every week, every month. So why not get Dr. Malia, train her? Why not train Hani? So I have someone to go to locally. So so that's the other thing. And then
If
the
Muhammad can't go to the mountain, and the mountain will come to Muhammad, mashallah.
so the last two things are that I learned on my journey on burnout was traveling. So you know, like Mlana Rumi mentioned that traveling increases power and love in your heart. And this is something I realized in my PhD days, that I would work like constantly for 3 months, and then I would take 1 month's break where I would travel to a different country. And I would realize that that 1 month's break would recharge me to do another sprint of 3 months continuously. And that's how I outperformed all my peers that were earning much more than me, and they were from multinational corporates from Saudi Arabia. And the thing is, how I performed them was through my energy, by channeling my energy and basically renewing constantly. And then the last thing that,
But you were very, very focused. Like
yeah,
when you were, when you were working, you were all work, and when you were playing, you were all play. So
yeah,
you recharge by disconnecting, so you could be fully tanked up to come back and completely focus instead of trying to do both at the same time.
yeah. And the last thing is that you must go within. So sometimes, for example, I think the question that you said was linked to burnout and depression. So another very fascinating question. Do healers go through phases of depression? And I'd love to get Hakeem Saab's feedback, but as far as I'm concerned, yes, we do. We're humans. And it depends how you classify depression, but because we're human, we're not angels that are constantly high on Iman, that we'd also go through low phases. I do anyway, and for that, I have certain things like, for example, if, Pakistan's getting too much for me, then I'll go to Lama Iqbal's resting place and I'll recite Fatiha there and I'll reflect upon what the mission actually is. Why am I here? Why am I going and honoring the struggle? And I think that I'll go to Badshah Masjid and I'll pray Isha. And Sulman was here, but he's one of my partners in this. So whenever I'm feeling really low, I'll grab him and we'll go to Badshah Masjid to pray Isha, and go to Iqbal's resting place, recite Fatiha. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to go within. You need to be able to judge what are the emotions that are pulling you down. And especially in recent times, especially when we were doing these Palestine protests. Now, the Palestinian protests are extremely intense on your soul, because the thing is, the energy or the emotions are so draining, because they're all basically, either you're negatively ranting against Zionism, or it's about children dying, or it's about, it's all about intense stuff. And that would absolutely, so a protest for 1 hour, 2 hours in Lahore, outside the press club, that would drain me for a full weekend, or perhaps even 1 or 2 weeks. So,
I think because you're so immersed, because the reason why you're doing it, because I remember when I did some fundraising, I had images, after the floods in Pakistan, and people, were walking past, not taking much of a notice. But for me, I was fully fueled because those images kept haunting me. And I think what happens is when you go on these protests for Palestine, the reason why you're going is because your fuel is intense trauma, and that's energizing, but at the same time, it's very draining as well.
yeah.
And so you have a lot going on all at the same time,
Mm,
and so you do need to then recharge.
yeah. Yeah. Hakeem Saab,
Otherwise,
yeah.
you will burn out.
Yeah. Hakeem Saab, I'd love to hear from you. How do you manage your low phases if you have them?
Okay. I mean, I'm thinking. I mean, the low phases that I get is after clients. Whenever I see clients, when I see it just is very draining. And also after each class, it's very draining. So I've actually reduced my number of clients and patients I see, because it's just very tiring. And then also my wife she's a psychotherapist, that she keeps an eye on me, and she will just because I'm being a cleric, I'm very like workaholic. I mean, I'm just addicted to work, and so she will just force me to stop, and she'll say I'll go on a holiday. When I went to, she took me to Turkey and all that stuff. So she will. So it's my wife keeps an eye on me, but I do get drained after the clients. I just reduce the load really, to be honest with you.
Okay.
The thing is, you've hit on something also that's very important for married couples, because you're both in complementary professions. With her being a therapist, she's very vulnerable as well because she's absorbing. And then with you being a Hakeem, so you're both bringing all these things home, and then you have children as well. And so recognizing when it's time to take a break is very, very important, because it impacts your family life, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So it's not just you as well. What you're feeling will have, and if you're not getting any respite at home in the time when you're drawing back, because other people, like it's like what you said before, it's very interesting about people reflect you. Because I remember years ago, I met somebody in America who goes into jails and helps people, who are trying to discover Islam. And I asked him, do you how do you go into the darkness? And he said, it's not like that. They give me light as well. And it reminded me of that when you were saying that we reflect each other. We're both constantly exchanging energies. I'm offloading onto you and you're offloading onto me. So what do we have in ourselves to offload? It's keeping an eye on how we're filling our tanks. And that's why I do wonder, like, if you're a sensitive person, all this stuff Brené Brown talks about, vulnerability and shame and things like that. If you're a sensitive person, which is why you'd come into this, which is why you'd get that calling, then how do you manage it? Because sometimes a person can just feel down anyway, even if it's not because of someone else. So, and you've got to go to work and you've got to go and heal someone else. It sounds like it's something that's an art as well, keeping yourself centered.
To be on you have to be very positive. You have to remain positive, because I say you're giving energy. So there's a case once this patient came to me, and I see her. She came 2-3 times, and she was a bit sensitive in the sense that she wanted to gain weight. And can you believe that? She wanted to gain weight, and then all that stuff, right? And most women want to lose weight. Anyway, so I did a few things, and she got better, etc. And then once she came out the third time, etc. And then she left, and she didn't say anything. But then she didn't come for a few months. And I said, oh, she came to see me. She said, oh, I didn't want to come. I didn't come after that. So what happened? She said, your wife was shouting at you, right? And that upset me. So I was in the clinic, and I went to pick up the medicines. She said, when you would pick up the medicines, your wife was shouting at you. And I said, was shouting at me. That's not like her. She's not like that. My wife is not that person who gets, like that. So I said, really? She said, yeah. So, that upset me, and I didn't want to come again. So, okay, fine. Anyway, so that was, I said, no, you, but I said, was the father? She says, no. And we started to go back to what happened. So she asked me to do something, right? And I forgot to do it. And when I came out, she said, oh, did you do that thing? Did you do that? Did you go and get that thing? And reminding me, yeah. So and I said, oh, I forgot. And then I said, oh, I'll do it later. I'm busy with the client. But that reminded me of the story when this man, his wife used to tell him off all the time. Yeah. And I think we should be so anyway, she was turning off, and she was just tell him off, and this inside of the Sahabi, yeah. And he went to the Khalif, which was Umar's that went to see him, and as he went to his house, he could hear his wife shouting at Umar. And and he goes like this. So he just he ran away. And then Umar said, Kusadi, he said, what was going? Come back. He said, no, it's okay. Forget it. He goes, no, something happened. What's going? He goes, well, this is what happened. You can't. Your wife is shouting at you. How are you gonna help me? He says, my wife has born me these kids, looks after my house. If she gets upset sometimes, so what? Yeah. So that's the woman's prerogative. So my father didn't.
I mean, that's the reality of relationships, isn't it? Because we're all on a journey. It's not like you're walking on water. I think maybe that's a myth we need to expel. That you're a healer, but you're also fallible. You can forget. You can get tired. You can fall behind schedule. These are all realities as well. It's not like you become this perfect person, and that's something to bear in mind as well.
No, and then don't worry. The first person to put me in my position is my wife. I said, many kids. I think this woman after 17 years, she had a kid. I said, this woman's I was excited. I said, 17 years, I managed to give her this medicine. She looked up. She goes, don't even think about it. I said, 70 years, I managed to get her pregnant. She got pregnant after 70 years. She's 40 years of age. I managed to do it. She goes, you did do nothing. I said, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean that way. No, don't even think about it. This arrogance you're getting inside you. Don't even think about it. I said, oh no, I'm not getting arrogant. I got excited. She said, don't get excited. So she's first supposed to put me down position. So don't worry. There's somebody right behind. You know, they say behind every great man is a woman. She puts me in my position every 5 seconds. So don't worry. With her being Earth, she earths me.
Mashallah.
Mashallah. So I think we should wind up now.
Yeah.
So Sister Shazia, anything last thing to discuss, or should we
No,
close?
I think mashallah we've managed to cover everything. Because I did have some, I think mashallah everything that with the questions that I sent you, you've gone through them all. And I look forward to seeing the result of this in terms of people signing up. I think this will be a journey of self-discovery for people. And I think, in Pakistan now, where there are a lot of quacks, and there are also a lot of problems due to inflation and difficult, situations at home. This would be an elixir. And like you say, if there's a community of healers, then that will be a blessing in itself. So I look forward to seeing the results of this, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. And I'll share the forms in the groups, so I know the people that attended today, and inshallah when we upload this on YouTube, I'll share the link for the form over there also. And if there's any questions, you can message either myself or the Academy of Champions number for any inquiries in Pakistan, and any inquiries for Hakeem Sahab. I think the website is qtam.org.uk.
Would it be possible to put all of this stuff in the description on YouTube? Because then when we share the YouTube recording, it'll be easy for people to click on those links afterwards themselves, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, I'll do that. So I'll just